I want to start you off here with the same question I've asked every single person as an opening question. Can you take me back and tell me about when the sport of swimming, not just swimming or swim lessons, but the sport of swimming was introduced to you? How old were you? Where were you? What were the circumstances?
So, probably 4 or 5. And I was swimming for the Ypsi Otters, if you remember the Ypsi Otters.
You wouldn't believe this, Josh, but I was the head coach of Ypsilanti High School for 5 years from 96 to 2000. So I probably knew the entire Ypsi Otters club record board by the back of my hand just from staring at it during practice for 5 years. I know about the Ypsi Otters. Go ahead.
So I was swimming over, forget what it was. It was whatever that therapy pool they used to use for like the little kids, right? And I was too old to be over there, but I didn't want to go swim at the high school because it was cold. And I remember eventually sitting down with, I think it was Mona. You remember Mona? And probably Pat too, and my dad. And they're like, "Look, you got to go over the big pool." So I think that's kind of when it, like, once I transferred over to swimming at Ypsi High, that was kind of when it became a sport for me. At that point, I was playing everything. I wasn't super serious about swimming. And then I can't exactly remember how old I was. Maybe 8 or 9 is when I went over to Ann Arbor Swim Club at the time. I was in Ann Arbor Swim Club for a while. And then that obviously became Club Wolverine. But that's kind of when I started swimming on a team. I think it became more serious for me probably like late middle school when I started realizing, okay, I could be pretty good at this.
Hey, you jumped my next question and even used my wording a little bit. No, that's great. I mean, that was my next question is there a breakthrough moment where, and I was going to say, where you realized you could be good at this? Is there a point in that process where it kind of the light bulb goes off for you?
Yeah, so I can't remember a specific race, but I think my dad he was a swimmer as well. He swam at Central Michigan. And I think he kind of realized I was going to be pretty good before I did, probably like high school time. And then I think when I kind of realized it was probably like my freshman year. And I was always good before that, I was, winning age group state meets and stuff like that. But I think in high school when I started swimming in high school dual meets and kind of seeing, okay, this is what, other freshmen are doing. I think that's when it kind of clicked for me. I was like, all right, like, this could be something pretty good. And even at that point, like I was still pretty far behind like Adam and David. They were always significantly better than me up until probably my sophomore year is kind of when I think everything started clicking a little bit.
Take me back a little bit still here before high school. Can you tell me a little bit about who are some of the most important kind of swimming influences for you as you're coming up as an age group swimmer, maybe before high school, but who's helping you kind of find your way there as you're getting into the sport?
You talking about coaches or swimmers or
probably,
either or?
I guess I was probably thinking about coaches, but I'm always intrigued by who kind of inspires a swimmer, and sometimes those are swimmers.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think how old we were. It was definitely before high school, but our group at Club Wolverine was again like me, David, Adam, Jay Jin is someone else that comes to mind, Victor Zhang. And then there was the girls too. I mean, like Anna DeMonte, Willow Wang, Lauren Soroka, Avery Evanson. Our group was just really solid. And Z, if you know Z, she was the one who, I mean, I swam with her. Besides probably college or high school coaches, I probably swam with her the longest. And then high school, I mean, Todd was just a freaking rock, you know. I mean, his coaching style just worked for us in high school, and I mean, he's a huge part of why we are what we did. And then another one would be Bailey Weathers, if you know Bailey. He took over Club Wolverine when I was in middle school, high school days, and Bailey doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's a great coach, and also just a great person. So those are some coaches that come to mind that really.
That's great. So, you know, you touched on it a little bit. I mean, you're really glued to these teammates, right? I mean, from age group swimming, you, Adam, David, I mean, are you kind of seeing high school coming, like this is going to be special?
Yeah. So there were some other guys that swam for Club Wolverine that were a little bit older that went to Saline. Andy Jensen, Jake Engelmeyer, Sam Wittig. So when we were in 8th grade, their state meet, I can't remember what they got, but it wasn't good. Or it wasn't what they thought they were going to get, right? I think maybe like 9th or something like that. I can't remember, but I just remember them saying, you know, when you guys get here next year, it's going to be, you know, it's going to be something good. And we'd kind of talked about it, but for me, that's when I kind of realized. I was like, oh, like, you know, we have a chance to win a state meet next year, and so yeah.
It's interesting stuff. You know, one of the things that you mentioned that I found kind of intriguing was you kind of mentioned that you were winning state meets, you know, and as you're growing up, age group state meets, and you're touching, you know, winning races and that experience. But then you also said, I've got teammates that are significantly better than me at that time. So there's a little juxtaposition that you're tasting success, but it sounds like you're still very motivated, even in practice, you know, just to keep up and fit in.
Yeah, definitely. I think I just matured later than some of those other guys, and that's really what it was, you know. But as a 7th and 8th grader, you don't really think about that, right? You're just like, why are they dropping so much time, and I'm kind of, you know, I was still dropping time, still, you know, I was still in state finals. I think I even won a few individual events. You know, we were winning club championship state meets. But I think it definitely made you hungry, you know, seeing these guys, and that's, you know, I always kind of felt like I was, you know, kind of the underdog to those guys, even up to my senior year.
Yeah.
And again, that's one of the reasons, all three and all four on Michael as well. I mean, Michael, he's not going to be on this list, but like, he's someone who, one, we couldn't have won our senior year without him for sure. And two, like, he went from not making the state meet his freshman year to winning the 50 against a Freak Caban his senior year, which is, you know, I mean, it's pretty crazy. And that's just a testament to the group of guys we were training with, you know, like, he's an athlete, he's competitive. And once we started realizing, you know, okay, he can maybe be something good, that's when, you know, he started swimming with us. And it was just, you know, the four of us in practice. I mean, you could ask Todd about this, but I mean, it was crazy. And I don't think I don't think a lot of other high schools had that type of training group while they were swimming high school swimming, you know.
Yeah, probably very few outside of like Andover and Brother Rice and a couple of those teams in the 90s that had 4 or 5 All-Americans together at one time. There aren't many.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So
I want to follow up before we dive into the high school swimming too much. I wanted to ask a little bit more about your dad. You mentioned that he was a swimmer at Central Michigan. I'm always interested to get a better feel for kind of the culture in the house and how you were supported and whatnot.
yeah.
How was your dad as a former swimmer that obviously could relate to the training and the racing and some of the things that you were going through? What was his approach with you when it came to his messaging with you? Did you feel like he pushed you, encouraged you? How would you kind of categorize his support?
So I think he definitely pushed me, but in a good way. You know, I definitely wouldn't be the swimmer I was without my dad. He's probably the biggest swimming nut I know. I mean, the stuff this guy remembers about swimming is, you guys would probably have some good conversation. But yeah, he was kind of the one that, you know, saw the potential and, you know, pushed me and encouraged me. You know, I don't think he ever missed a meet. I don't think he, you know, I ever missed a practice for not being able to get there, you know. Him and my mom are, you know, really big reasons that I was what I was. So.
And how about siblings? Do you have siblings? Were they swimmers?
Yeah, I do. I have a younger brother, Jacob, who he was on our team our senior year. He swam at Eastern until they cut the program foolishly. Jared is a sophomore. He swims at Delta State, which is in Mississippi, Cleveland, Mississippi. They're a really good D2. They won the national championship last year. And then my sister is going to be a junior at Saline, and she's also a swimmer. Not sure if she's going to swim in college or what, but she's swimming in high school. Well, if high school swimming happens this year. But yeah.
I just talked to Cameron Mole this weekend, and of course his older brothers are Alec and Ian Mole, who were state record holders or multiple time state champions. And he said to me when he was 11, he didn't even want to swim, but there was a pull to swim just so he could participate in the dinner conversation. You know, that it was the culture in the house was so driven by swimming that he had to kind of get in line so he could be a part of his own family a little bit. Is that how it is in your family?
I would definitely say that. I mean, there was points when I was 11, 12, where I didn't want to swim anymore. You know, but I'm super thankful my dad pushed me in the direction he did, you know. I mean, I think swimmers definitely it's a sport where it's, you know, it's not your whole identity, but like, you know, like I think in high school, like all the swimmers hung out together. In college especially, you know, like it's like a fraternity, right? Like it's definitely an identity. And I'm super thankful my dad didn't let the, you know, 12-year-old me walk away from the sport.